going to look at the benefits of using podcasts today, with a specific focus on domiciliary care workforce. So we know that our staff are moving from customer to customer throughout the day, or at times they may be sitting waiting in a parked car for a double up care worker to perhaps arrive, or for the call time to come about. And so why not get some learning nuggets in with them during those times, during that period. Of course, if people are driving and not using public transport to commute, then we're quite limited in that they can't look at devices and so on. So podcasts are fantastic as long as they have obviously set everything up from their device in their car and before they turn on the engine and start the journey. So let's just have a little look, a little browse at what's available and relevant and current to our industry, and how we can go about sharing that with the workforce.
So let's start off with looking at the podcast app BBC Sounds. So this particular app is dedicated to BBC material only, and there's plenty there for our industry that is of interest and is educational. So this is the homepage here, so you get all the latest podcasts that are out, but I suggest you go to the search bar and just swipe upwards, and it will bring you to a range of categories. So for example, if I open documentaries, you'll get to see all the latest, and you can browse and bookmark what is relevant there. Or you could be specific and tap in keywords. So I've used health, and that will bring up a range of podcast episodes that are health related. But yeah, mess about with your keywords, play with a few keywords. Here's my subscriptions here, not very many in BBC Sounds, but just enough to show you that there's plenty there for us to start with. I then go into my bookmark feature, and I have looked at a range of different podcast shows, and I will bookmark episodes from there that are relevant. So I've got a catalogue to send out periodically to the workforce. So we've got things like Filing For, Law in Action, Personal Best. And here we have case notes, which I couldn't actually find on some of the other top podcast directories. I could only find this on BBC Sounds. And as you can see, there are plenty of subjects there that are relevant and of interest to our staff. I've also bookmarked from Health Check to send out to staff, quite easily. So let's just have a look at how we do that. So I've opened up an episode here. More button, 3 little buttons there. Press share episode. And it gives you a layer of all your contacts and the platforms that you have on your phone. So I would suggest using WhatsApp, because obviously you can get that to a group a lot quicker. You've then got an option to use the More button, which takes you to all the platforms that are available on your digital device. And it looks pretty similar in Android as well. So let's just have a little list.
I'm Sophie Linden. I'm the Deputy Mayor for Policing and Crime in London. We've unearthed 4,000 young people and children in London who are involved in county lines. The number 4,000 has been arrived at through a lot of cross-referencing around what the police know, what local authorities know, and what they are also finding on the ground.
Significant learning material there for our staff, I'm sure you would agree. So I would send this out on a Monday, and then I would follow up with some CPD evidence from our staff, with Google Forms perhaps, or asking them for a summary of their understanding. I'm just going to take a look at one of the top podcast directories here then. So this is one that's pre-installed on iOS devices, and everything I'm about to show you is also available on Androids using the Google Podcast app. So you can browse by category in this one as well, like the previous one shown, or you can use the search bar to tap in keywords. So this is my library, and these are the shows that I subscribe to. So there's quite a range there. Some are more geared for care workers, others are more focused or would support managers and other leaders. So it's about listening to that podcast and working out who that's going to be best suited for. So let's just have a look at UK Law Weekly here. This is all about case law and precedents that have been set.
NHS Trust looked to landlord and tenant case law that states notice is given when the letter is delivered to the address. Hayward's lawyer argued that recent cases in the Employment Appeals Tribunal demonstrated that notice only occurred when it had been received by the employee and they had had a chance to read it.
So that's one on employment related matters, and certainly could inform managers and leaders. Just looking at NSPCC here, you can see the range of different topics that they offer, and there's plenty more if you look at see all episodes. So how to share that then in Apple Podcasts. So we're looking at the three little dots, purple dots in the bottom right hand corner here. Press that, that'll bring up the share option. All your contacts will show, and the platforms that we talked about earlier on. So just going to finish off by looking at the app Entail. So this one has been available for iOS users for just over a year, and in more recent days we've got a beta version for Android users. So as you can see, the layout for searching is quite similar to some of the other podcast apps that we've looked at. So the difference here with this one then, I've just got an episode of Health Check open, and as you can see there is interactive content on the screen that you can tap away at to get more detail, so you might find things like maps, images or biographies. Top right hand corner, little square, neat feature, so you can actually create a snippet to get straight to the point with your audience who that you're sharing it with, and you can share that in exactly the same ways that I've shown you previously. So this is not one for the road if the workforce want to access the interactive content there, but certainly it could be playing in the background as you would do with the other podcast apps.